I'm Cindy.
Sitting in my luxurious office, overlooking the chaos at my brother's former company across the street, I can't help but recall the dramatic events that led to this moment. It all started at the annual family dinner. I entered my parents' opulent mansion in a simple yet elegant black dress. My brother, Jake, a 35-year-old who thought he was the king of the business world, sneered as I walked in. "Oh, look who's here. How's that little tech thing of yours going, Cindy? Still dreaming big." The living room was filled with the usual crowd. My sister-in-law, Lily, decked out in expensive jewelry, was showing off her new diamond necklace. My parents, Mr. and Mrs. Anderson, were beaming with pride at Jake, who was holding court near the fireplace with a glass of champagne in his hand. Jake boasted, "Our company, StarTech, just had an amazing quarter. We're expanding into 4 new markets. I'm sure your little startup is doing okay, though." Little did he know that his so-called amazing quarter was about to crumble. My mother, a traditional and somewhat over-protective woman, touched my arm and said, "Cindy, we're worried about you. Your little business has been a struggle. Maybe it's time to take a position at Jake's company." I took a sip of champagne and replied calmly, "Business is going well, Mom." Lily scoffed. "We all know you're having a hard time. The gardener's son saw you working late at that tiny office downtown." That tiny office was just a front. My real company, Nova Innovations, occupied the top 3 floors of the city's most prestigious building. During dinner, Jake continued to brag about his business. "We're about to close the biggest deal in StarTech's history. Once we acquire Horizon Tech, we'll be unbeatable." I hid my smile behind my wine glass because Horizon Tech had already accepted an offer from Nova Innovations. Just then, my phone rang. It was my assistant, Emily. She said, "Miss Anderson, the board has approved all the layoffs at StarTech. We're ready to restructure tomorrow morning. Do you want to approve the full list?" I looked at Jake, still bragging, and Lily, showing off her expensive watch. "Yes," I said loudly enough for them to hear. "Approve all of them, including my brother." The room fell into an eerie silence. Jake's face turned pale and he stammered, "What are you talking about? What layoffs?" I walked back to the table and said, "Nova Innovations has acquired controlling interest in StarTech. As of tomorrow, we're restructuring the whole company." Jake shouted, "That's impossible. You don't have the resources." I pulled out my phone and showed him my banking app. "I have exactly what I need." The room erupted in chaos. My father demanded explanations, my mother started crying, and Lily's perfect composure shattered. The next morning, I arrived at my office in the Anderson Tower, which I owned. Emily met me in the elevator and reported that StarTech stock had dropped 40% in pre-market trading. Jake had been trying to reach me since 6 a.m. My parents and Jake soon showed up at my office. My mother, usually so put together, looked disheveled. My father's face was red with anger. "What is the meaning of this?" he demanded. But as he took in my office, his anger faded a bit. I calmly explained that StarTech was on the verge of bankruptcy due to Jake's mismanagement. I pulled up the financial reports on my screen, showing 20 failed product launches, 40 million in unauthorized expenses, and a major customer poaching scandal. Jake stormed in, shouting, "You can't do this to me. I built that company." I pressed a button, and the wall screen showed the complex web of acquisitions and ownership that I had orchestrated over the past year. "You nearly destroyed it. Nova Innovations is now a $4.5 billion technology empire, and StarTech is our latest acquisition." I offered Jake a junior project manager position, reporting to my VP of operations. Lily's position as head of social media would no longer exist. My mother sank into a chair, and my father stared out the window. Jake just stood there, finally realizing that his little sister had outsmarted him. In the following weeks, StarTech underwent a remarkable transformation. Jake surprisingly accepted the junior position. On his first day, he arrived in his expensive suit but found himself in a small cubicle next to the employees he used to ignore. Lily tried to plead with me, coming to my office in a designer dress. But I showed her the screenshots of the rumors she had spread about my company on social media, and she left in tears. My parents took some time to adjust. First, they tried to guilt-trip me, then they tried to bargain. But eventually, at the next board meeting, my father said, "I may have underestimated you, Cindy. When you started your company, I thought you were being stubborn. But now, I see you were creating your own path." 6 months later, Jake got his first promotion. He admitted, "I never really understood what our developers did. I just took the credit." He finally realized that success was about building something meaningful, not just looking powerful. Lily started a small fashion blog and found success by being genuine. At the next annual family dinner, my father raised his glass and said, "Nova Innovations just had another record quarter." "Cindy, tell us about the new AI initiative." I stood up and proposed a toast to family, success, and small beginnings. The room erupted in applause, a far cry from the condescending looks I used to get. As I drove home to my penthouse, I thought about how a tiny startup that no one believed in had become a powerful empire, and how sometimes the best way to win is to build something better.